Alright, welcome everybody. This is episode 2 of the Underdeveloped podcast. I am Jay, your main host.
G'day, I'm Dolzo, or Dylan, the co-host. What's up?
So this week, I'm going to be introducing a new topic that we're going to be doing at the start of every episode. It's going to be called Gamer News. So basically what we're going to be doing is just describing what's happening in the game space. What's happened in the last week, whether there's any new releases, any new information, and what's going on. So,
Hell yeah.
Recently, kicking it off with a big one, Bethesda was bought by Xbox, which is actually owned by Microsoft. So, expect big things from Bethesda. Now they have $7.5 billion in their pocket.
Jesus.
Wasn't
that a couple months ago?
It was
big
it was
news.
it was about
Definitely.
a month and a bit ago, 2 months ago now.
Yeah.
But they did that to sort of combat Sony and PlayStation and all that.
That's going to be super interesting where that goes, because I think it's Starfield is exclusive to PlayStation now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. So, I don't know. Well, I think it already was. It's a timed exclusive or something. I could be wrong.
Right.
But yeah, that's going to be weird if Microsoft owns them and then they're releasing a Sony exclusive.
Yeah, there's gonna be some contract conflicts.
Yeah.
But another thing with Bethesda is the entire board of directors and CEO all stepped down within the same day.
Jesus, really?
Yep, they all stepped down, and so Bethesda don't actually have a central leadership right now. So they're just sort of waiting for a new board of directors and new CEO to be selected so they can continue on with all of their endeavors.
Wait, so that doesn't include Todd, does it?
I don't think so. Todd's just kind of like he's kind of like the face of it all. But like all the
He's
people
like the
behind
stain
the scenes,
that they can't get out.
Yeah. He's the stain from your meatball sub that you can't get out of your favorite white t-shirt.
Oh yeah, the bloody Todd Howard. They keep putting him on my subways. Like, come on. I didn't ask for it. Just give me lettuce, bro.
So some other news. You may have noticed that some video game servers have been taking a bit of a hit. Titanfall 2, Black Ops 3,
No!
Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and 2 of the biggest Minecraft servers ever were all massively DDoSed about 2-3 weeks ago.
Bloody dream stands.
Yeah, those bloody Dream stands. Dream doesn't like them, so they have to get rid of it.
Ah, damn. Man rules the world.
Ugh. He honestly has more power than most governments in the world, which is actually terrifying.
Yeah, and from like looking at it, he just looks like he's like scared of his fan base, which is
he absolutely
understandable.
He would
There's
be
a lot
terrified of them.
Yeah.
However, a lot of people say that he has a massive ego, so maybe they're just like giving him power.
Maybe. Who knows? The minds of YouTubers, right?
Yeah. Jeez, YouTubers, I wonder who could be one of those.
Yeah, like bloody YouTubers, dude. Are all psychopaths, every single one of them.
Absolutely.
All right, so Battlefield 4 has also had a massive player surge. The servers on that game are going crazy. Like, there's not enough community servers to handle it, pretty much.
Damn.
Because of the announcement of Battlefield, what is it, 2074? Is it?
Oh,
I don't know the number.
I don't
the new
remember
Battlefield.
the numbers.
Battlefield Future. That's what I'm going to call it.
Yeah, the newest Battlefield as of today.
Hell yeah. Battlefield cross Just Cause.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Also in the news, there's a Nickelodeon Smash Brothers clone, which kind of looks pretty dope. Not gonna lie.
It looks so cool. I watched a trailer like 20 minutes ago, not even. And I really just want to be able to play as like handsome Squidward and then suplex fucking Nigel Thornberry. Like I just want to see handsome Squidward just destroying thousands of bots all at once.
Dude, I just want to like roundhouse kick a Ninja Turtle as like that one kid from the Rugrats. Like, just some like hulking Ninja Turtle gets decked by some diaper wearing dumbass.
I wonder.
Hell yeah.
I wonder how many characters they're gonna have, because a lot of their characters they don't even use anymore.
They probably don't have the rights to them, to be fair.
Yeah.
I saw there was one character that was like, it was like this like big hulking superhero, like muscular as, but his head was a piece of toast. I don't know if that's a cartoon, but I've never seen it before. So.
Oh yeah, isn't that from The Amazing World of Gumball?
Oh, maybe. I've never watched it, but I was hoping they aren't just making up characters to fill in the blanks.
I wonder how many characters they're actually gonna have. Like, do they have the rights to regular show?
Maybe. That's not Adult Swim, is it?
Oh, it could have been. I know one show that was like that was owned by Adult Swim.
Okay. Yeah. Oh well, I suppose we'll see. Yeah, I gotta watch the trailer in full. I haven't watched it yet. I've seen a couple clips on Twitter. They should call us the Uneducated Podcast, because I haven't looked into this. But the last thing I had, there's a bit of controversy over the new FIFA game. Who would have thought?
FIFA 2012.
You can only 2021.
They all look the same.
Yeah, no, they're all the same game. But on the Steam version, I think it's been changed now, but for a limited time, you could only install it on one machine as a one machine license. So if your computer kicks the bucket and you want to install it again, nah, another $80, buddy.
Oh, that's as if so the game, shit.
Yeah, as if the game wasn't fucking steep enough.
That's such
buying the same game every year.
That's such a shitty thing to do. Like, you buy the game and you want to enjoy it. What if you go to a friend's house and want to enjoy it there? Do you have to take your PC with you?
Yep, whole thing. Cuddle along.
What? That's so stupid.
Hey,
it's not a piece of software. It's not a piece of software. You're not buying the license to it.
I mean, technically.
You're buying a viewing license. But
it doesn't make it make any more sense.
That's just driving their already tiny player base even further away.
EA, man. They're run by a mixture of raccoons and squirrels.
Yeah.
Anyway, is that... you got any more news for us?
I'm not sure. This is kind of a niche. This is a niche one, but Hypixel, the largest Minecraft server, have been developing their own video game called Hytale.
Ooh.
And that was supposed to be released in July 2021. And
yeah.
Two days ago, we got an update. Oh, not 2 days. 4 or 5 days ago now. We got an update from the development team saying they're pushing the development or the release date back from July 2021 to August 2023.
Shit. That's pretty harsh.
That's a long deadline. They're
so
heading
close
for
to the release date as well.
They're heading for a Cyberpunk, because they promised a beta in 2019, and they just went radio silent when they were supposed to release the beta. No one's even played the game yet outside of the development team. They've been developing it since 2013, so
Jeez.
it'll be 10 years on the release date that they've been developing it.
That's development hell if I've ever heard of it.
Absolutely. But that's all the news I have.
All right. Well, I thought today we'd get into basically how we recommend, if you wanted to get into game design or game development in general, how we'd recommend you approach it.
Yeah.
So, my general way of telling people to do things is just jump in, fuck around. That's how you figure it out. You know, maybe download Unity and be like, all right, I want to make some dumbass thing because I find it funny. Do it. Like, try it. If you fail at stuff, you'll learn from that. Look up Bracky's tutorials because that's all you'll be doing for the rest of your game development career.
Yep.
And, you know, that's 90% of it. Just figure it out as you go. It's a big... The field is very much like that. It's like figure out as you go.
Yeah, the making a video game, it's not easy work, but to get started in it, you have to find a starting point, and you can't find a starting point without starting. So if you're thinking about making a video game or even trying to learn, then the best way to do it is just Google Bracky's how to make a game.
Bracky's is brilliant. He's got a tutorial for everything.
Everything in the video game space, if you can think of it, Bracky's has already done a 20-minute video explaining how to do it. He doesn't do his videos anymore. Him and his team have moved on to other things. But Unity is probably the most well-known video game engine out there. So I'm sure you can find a tutorial or an explanation for something that you want to do. Like,
definitely.
If you want to make a first-person player controller, there's about 10,000 different tutorials for each Unity version. There's so many different tutorials for what you want to do. So really, the only thing you actually need to start your game design and development career is just try it. Find something funny. Like, say you want to make fart simulator where you just go around farting at people. Just go do it.
Is this a real thing? I'm interested.
I don't think so. Maybe I'll make that.
Shit. All right. Well,
I'll make that one weekend.
Hell yeah. But yeah, like it's intimidating. But don't worry about that. You know.
Fart simulator's already a game.
They stole our idea.
Yeah, they stole our idea 3 years ago.
Nah, like the first thing you do is you pick what engine you want to go. So, generally, if you're just doing it casually, your two options are Unity or Unreal Engine, right? I think there's a few other ones, but those are your main two, right?
Yeah.
Unity has more documentation on it, more tutorials on YouTube. It's just more commonly used in casual developers, whereas Unreal is really powerful, really good, but it's a little bit harder to find things out about. So,
yeah,
in the industry, it's sometimes better, but I think just sitting at home using the internet to learn, it's a bit harder from my experience.
Yeah, teaching yourself is very difficult because motivation comes into play, and if you hit a snag, it's very disheartening at first. Like, if you don't know how to do something and you don't understand the tutorial, it is very disheartening. So, if you guys ever do find something that you can't really get past, like say your player controller isn't reacting with gravity properly or doesn't have realistic physics, and you don't quite understand the tutorials, then break it down step by step. That's the way I'd personally find out and debug stuff and figure out how to do things properly. I break it down step by step to the most bare bones steps possible. So what I do, so if I press W, how is that affecting the game? How is that affecting the player controller? How is my input affecting what is going on the screen?
Yeah, you do what you can to wrap your head around what's happening. My personal way of dealing with it is I say, fuck it, I'll deal with it later, and then tackle something else and then come back to it. Because by the time you come back to it, you've probably thought about it a bit, you've calmed down from the bit of burnout you've just got from stressing over this one error that's blocking your thing from compiling for like 2 hours, and you're more clear-minded to work on it. And if you're learning stuff as you go, you've probably, in the meantime, you've just learned something that might help in your previous issue. So, you know, the key thing is relax, take it one step at a time. You're gonna hit a lot of can't talk. You're gonna hit a lot of snags. So take it easy on yourself. Don't burn yourself out.
Yeah, burnout is definitely something that a lot of people experience very quickly when they start making games. Like, you pump yourself really hard and you go, 8 hours in one day, and then the next day you just don't want to touch it because you've spent so much time on it and you don't feel like you're getting anywhere.
Like, yeah, definitely take your breaks.
Yeah, making a game is also a very time-consuming process. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. And so try and pace yourself realistically. Like, just an hour or two here or there. Don't force yourself to do it, because in the end of the day, you're actually going to hate what you're doing more. You're going to slowly start to resent the project you're working on, and then you're just going to forget about it and never even publish it. And then all the time you've spent on it is wasted.
Yeah, no, you definitely need to keep an eye on your burnout. Make sure you handle that. That's
Absolutely.
one of the hardest parts. But yeah, from that, what do I say the next steps are? If you have previous coding knowledge, awesome. Like, if you know any coding language, it's going to make it really easy for you to learn another one, because the main thing is grasping the logic behind it.
Yeah.
And then it's basically just swapping out words and functions for other things. You're going to do a lot of Googling. It's just going to happen. I still look up every time I write a raycast thing. I'm still going to the Unity scripting API, the physics.raycast every time. You can't memorize that shit. I mean, smarter people would. I'm an idiot, so I wouldn't. But for me, it's very hard to memorize anything when it comes to code. You'll get more of a hang of it, but you're gonna be hitting that scripting API on Google a lot.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, I go to university doing computer science, and learning C# before I even went to university made it so much easier to learn other languages like C++, C, even Bash. Fucking Bash. The scripting language they invented nearly 40 years ago. Jeez. I could still find resemblance from Bash and C#. So if you have any prior experience with any scripting language, it will help you understand the syntax of everything. It's just changing out keywords, and some functions do function differently. Like, say you're doing debug statements and you're putting in console, like you want to print stuff out to your console. In Unity, that's different to, say, developing in C++, because one uses the debug and the other uses console, but functionally they're the same.
Yeah, and if you don't have any code experience, like, don't worry about it. There's a lot of ways to learn. There's some good websites. I can't remember the names right now. There's an app called Mimo, which is just like Duolingo, which is that language learning app, but for code. That's good. Give that a go. Or, if you just want to make something pretty, you're not too worried about all the programming stuff. There's an asset store with hundreds of thousands of assets. Unreal Engine actually uses visual scripting, so it's a lot more It's a lot more legible by looking at. Like, it makes more sense. It's almost like you're coding in Little Big Planet or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, whatever is more comfortable for you. I'm not too big of a fan of the visual scripting in Unreal Engine, but I feel like that's just because I learnt code first. It's easier for me to go and figure out something in code than to figure out the equivalent in the visual scripting. So
Yeah.
I'd recommend, if you're new, check out the visual scripting. If you have experience in code, just stick with code.
Yeah. Learning visual scripting is a whole different ball game to just learning code. Me personally, I also prefer code, and I actually don't like Unreal Engine at all. But that's also a personal gripe. That's nothing to do with anything that Unreal have done. Like, Unreal Engine is still very powerful. They made Ark Survival Evolved. There's a whole bunch of beautiful games that you can make with it. And its graphics engine is a lot better than Unity's. However, they lack in the physics and back end side of it, if that makes sense to anyone else.
I like how in talking up Unreal Engine, you used Ark Survival Evolved.
Yeah, that was the first game that came to mind.
Of all Unreal Engine games, you picked the jankiest one of them.
It was just the first thing that came to mind.
Fair enough. No, there is a lot of really good games, really big games made in both engines. So definitely don't discount one or the other. Have a look into them and see what fits you most.
Yeah. And your decision is probably the most important one, because it's your game. It's your career. It's your future. It's not anyone else's. So don't let anyone else tell you what to do with your game development and design choices. That's entirely up to you. Like, if you want to use Game Maker, you go. Undertale was made in Game Maker, and that was a fucking banger of a game.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you make it with. It's all up to you.
You could even make awesome text-based games with a program called Twine. Like, there's so many different engines, and all of them do different things, and everything is entirely based on you. So don't let one of your friends go, "Oh, don't use Unreal because I don't like it." But if you find Unreal easier, then you use Unreal, man. You go. I believe in you.
Hell yeah, dude. I had this one guy years ago who used to... at first, I started learning in Unreal, and he used to pay me out about it. He's like, "Unity's better." And I'm like, yeah, whatever, mate. Like, all that matters is you prefer the engine that you're using. It lets you do what you want to do, and generally, both of them will let you do anything you want to do.
Yeah, most engines will allow you to reach the end point that you want to reach, and if that engine can't, then maybe look into a different engine. Like, Unity will let you do literally anything, but it's very difficult once you get into the more higher end stuff, like calculating vector maths and other things like that, which I have never done. I've never worked on anything that required me to calculate vector maths and calculate my own physics, because I just use Unity's built-in physics system. And that, well, it's not great.
Lucky you.
Unity's built-in physics system isn't the best, but it's definitely better than nothing. It's better than having no experience and then trying to make your own and then giving up because you have no idea what you're doing.
Oh yeah, like, while the systems might not be like brilliant, AAA quality.
Yeah.
Good luck writing your own. Like, go away, write your own, and then tell me they're bad.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, there's plenty of bloody talented people who could do that, but I'm meaning like beginners here.
Yeah, like when Dylan and I were actually learning how to code, one of the guys in our class built his own physics engine.
Oh yeah.
That was so cool.
just casual flex on everyone.
Yeah, he'd just graduated his computer science degree and then came and did a game design course. And we were learning coding in Unity, and he said, I don't like Unity's physics system, so I'm going to make my own over the weekend. And everyone thought, yeah, good luck with that. That's a bit difficult. On the Wednesday when we saw him, he said, yeah, I made my own physics system. It's 2,000 lines and it looks so much better than Unity's. And everyone was like, huh? You actually did it?
What a legend. But yeah, no, definitely take it one step at a time. The more time you spend on it, the more familiar you'll get with it. I couldn't have imagined myself doing what I am doing now, like a year ago, but I've learned so much in just like the past couple months alone. So, you know, you get there. It'll work out. Just keep at it.
Yeah, just keep keeping on, and if you have any questions, I'm sure either Dylan or myself will be able to answer them in the YouTube comments.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's something I wanted to mention.
Yeah, the YouTube comments.
Definitely, yeah, send us in some comments, man. I would love to answer some people's questions. Shout out to Caleb Keller, who is our first comment ever.
First
what
comment.
A lad. What a legend. Thank you.
Absolute king.
But yeah, no, definitely would be keen to hear some questions you guys would have. Of course, I can't answer anything like complex programming, but you know, anything in my experience, I will try my best to answer.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be answering questions too. I'm not the greatest at words, but if I don't really articulate answers well. So if people ask me questions, I can physically picture it in my head, but wording it might be a bit difficult. So if you don't understand my answer, just be like, Jay, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm sure I can reword it.
Not good with words, says the host of a podcast. All right, so I had a pretty spicy topic that I actually wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So this was from a while ago when I was trying to figure out, like, I wanted to get back into YouTube, but I was trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do. And I was thinking of using my game design experience and knowledge to spin an opinion on like the video essays, like basically analysis of games, talking about like themes and, you know, how they convey certain things, stuff like that. One of the bigger ones that really interested me was like how your mental state can affect what game like you're enjoying at the time.
Yeah,
because I think that's a real key thing to figuring out what makes people like certain games.
Yeah, like if you're not doing very well in your personal mental health, it can definitely lead to you trying to find an escape almost in video games, and that's actually a very common thing. Like myself personally, I was bullied all through school, and video games definitely helped cope with the fact that I didn't really like school. I didn't have very many friends, but in the online space, that didn't matter. I could just have fun, and that led to meeting online friends over games like Counter-Strike, Minecraft, Call of Duty. And those friends you meet online definitely are the best, some of the best you could ever have.
Yeah, it's definitely like a unique sort of friendship.
Yeah,
absolutely. There's no, especially during like a school time, right? Because everything to do with school is there's this whole like popularity hierarchy, and then there's this and there's that. None of that. There's none of that included online. Who gives a shit? Oh, you get along well with this guy? Right, you're friends. There you go. There's no side effects. There's nothing. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good time. But so I'm probably gonna be talking a lot about like the 5 stages of grief, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm a heavy believer in like this is like a big thing.
Yeah.
In the way people work. So that's of course, you know, from from 1 to 5: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance.
Yep.
So I think like this is all like based off my experience, right? I haven't done an in-depth study. I haven't worked everything out. This is just sort of what I've discovered from looking at myself and how my behaviors have been affected by certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first one I wanted to talk about was it's my all-time favorite game, Doom Eternal, right?
Oh, such a good game.
This is right in the anger stage, right?
Yep.
Because this game came out at a perfect time for me. Because I'd recently, I'm not going to go too far into it because it's not like sob story. This is ages ago. I don't care anymore. I'd had a breakup beforehand. Of course I wasn't in the best mindset because of that, and then they moved on straight away. So it's kind of, fucked with me a little bit. So I was angry for a bit, and Doom Eternal was just the biggest like outlet of that for me. Like, because I'm really non-confrontational.
Yeah.
I will never target someone for something or attack someone for something. So it just all went into Doom Eternal. I played this game on repeat for months. I just so much time went into that, and the whole like power fantasy thing of it just gripped me, like, because at that point in my life I felt like I had no power over anything, right? I just come out of my study, I couldn't get a job with it. I was working with my dad, which was a morning like tradie job, so I wouldn't meet anyone. I didn't have time to hang out with anyone because all my friends worked in the afternoon to evening. So yeah, it was very lonely at the time. I didn't have a lot of outlet for anything, so it was just me vibing. So Doom Eternal was just, it just clicked for me because of that, I reckon. I think that's entirely, like, years ago I played Doom 2016. I was like, yeah, all right, it's good. It's not that great. And then when I came back to it last year, which is when Doom Eternal came out and all this happened, I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
It's just, when you're, I think it's when you experience something like the chemistry in your brain changes, right?
Yeah.
And that entirely affects what you're into.
Yeah, and that actually also plays into things like addiction. Suffering heartbreak can make you more prone to addiction. And don't quote me on that. I ain't no doctor or nothing. But
yeah,
I'm not giving medical advice, but from my personal experience, heartbreak or suffering a loss in the family can make you more prone to things that make you feel good, because that deep sadness that you feel, the anger, all the pent up emotion can really eat at you if you don't let it out. Exceptionally, I guess. Because me personally, I've never actually really experienced anything like that. And so the first time that I ever experienced that, it was really brutal. Like, it tore through me, and I didn't know what to do. So I just channeled absolutely everything into video games instead of the outside world. And those video games then gave me the feedback loops and the dopamine response in your brain that games take advantage of, that really makes you feel good. And it can help, but it can also make things worse. So a lot of people say practice in moderation.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You can't become too reliant on it. Because I think
exactly.
I had a bit of a side effect with that as well. Like, I played Doom Eternal so much, I'm not saying Doom Eternal is the cause, but like, I played that game. I watched movies with similar themes. I've listened to a lot of, aggressive music at the time. Everything I wanted to involve myself in was, aggression. So I feel like I just reinforced that feeling. At first it was an escape, and then it was just reinforcing, like, no, you're still angry. Like, stay angry. This is you now. And it took me a while to get out of that.
Yeah.
You gotta keep it in control. Definitely practice in moderation.
So in a later episode, we can have my sister, who's a psychologist. She can come on and actually talk to you guys more about the psychology of addiction, what makes people more addicted to things, and what actually happens in the brain.
Ooh, yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, because then we can go into the psychology of video game addiction and branching off of that gambling addiction even, because the gambling industry uses the same mechanisms of getting someone addicted as games like World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Cold War, God of War even. And all those games actually use the same core fundamentals of getting people addicted to it. So that's definitely a pretty cool rabbit hole that we could go down with a trained professional to give you some form of professional opinion.
Yeah, so it's not just our uninformed opinions. No, that'd be awesome. Hell yeah. So, a couple other games I wanted to talk about. Another one was Last of Us 2, right?
Oh, yeah.
I know the majority of people did not like Last of Us 2. Or at least the loud majority, anyway.
Yeah.
I loved it. I had a really good time. And I think that was partly because I was in that sort of that transition stage from anger to the depression stage, right?
Yeah.
And that's how the game goes. You start off, there's that pivotal scene. I won't spoil it, but everyone knows what happens. You're rooting for Ellie. She is angry. You're angry. And they ride that so long, and it's done so well. Like, yes, it may not be the bloody top tier storytelling, but they definitely conveyed the themes brilliantly. And the amount that I related to, I can't say related because of course I haven't had anything like that happen, but to her feelings at least, like the amount that I was, I shared the dedication with Ellie. I was like, yeah, I want to get revenge. The amount that played in, it just works so well. And then when it swaps over to Ellie, of course, there was that weird hiccup where you're like, wow, not Ellie, what? Abby? Did I say Ellie?
Yeah, you said Ellie.
Yeah, when it swaps over to Abby, it's like, well, what's going on? But
I
think that's what that was needed to sort of bring you back to Earth, because you've been on this power trip of anger for so long, and then she sort of brings you back down to Earth.
Yeah, The Last of Us 2, I don't really have any comments towards that, because I was in a pretty good place when I played through it. But I can definitely understand how that could affect someone who's going through that. Like, it's definitely something where you could relate to the character. Like, they've lost something. Wow, I did too. And that builds a rapport. That makes you feel more for the character. And then you start to become like the character. You get angry when they get angry. And that just sort of feeds into the cycle of, I'm angry, so you have to be too. Yeah.
I think that was a big issue of the game with a lot of people, because it definitely it just dwelled on like mental states and grief and all that. If you're perfectly well at the time, you're probably not going to relate to that much, and you're not going to feel it. So it's just going to be, you're going to be looking for the other points in the story, which is completely that's good for you. Like having stuff going on you know, not as good as being perfectly well. So if you're perfectly well, that's fucking dope, dude. Good on you.
Yeah, go you. We're proud of you.
Yeah, I think that's an issue, like why people didn't enjoy it. And, you know, I think if it was less of a mainstream, like everyone's supposed to enjoy this is supposed to be accessible to everyone, it would have been brilliant. Yeah. But because it's expected to be, you know, everyone, it's supposed to appeal to everyone, of course it didn't.
Yeah, no, I think that was the issue. Appeal to everyone.
No.
They definitely could have done a better job with that.
Oh yeah. But I really liked the second half of the game. Like it transitions from that anger to like the depression stage, and then you realize like your anger is futile, like it's just destroying you and everyone around you, and it sort of brings you out of that. Sure, maybe the story wasn't that great, the ending was pretty unsatisfying, but I think they nailed those emotions. They did an amazing job there. Like, it really brings you down, and it's almost like you're just like hopelessly struggling to clinging to something you don't even care about anymore. Yeah,
definitely giving credit where credit's due. They did convey the character's emotion very well, and they almost did it too well. Like, it gets to a point where they do it a bit too well, and it's bordering on that fine line where you can have like a player feeling something for the character and then feeling like they are the character. And those are two very different things, because when you feel for the character, you can feel their sorrow, their anger. But when you feel like you are the character, that tends to give a negative emotional, get you in sort of emotional loop, where you just get stuck there feeling shitty because the character's feeling shitty, which is probably not the greatest thing to encourage.
Oh yeah, it's just like obsessing over it. That's not something you want to do. Yeah. It's like the same with the crazy stands on Twitter, and their whole life is dependent on whether their idol is doing well or not. Like, that's not healthy.
No, it's not healthy.
Yeah, so the third and last game I wanted to talk about was Death Stranding. So this one is like right in there in that the depression stage.
Yeah.
Everything about it is just kind of depressing, right?
Yeah, it's a very depressing game.
Yeah. If Death Stranding released during COVID, it would have done so much better.
Oh yeah.
Because it is a mirror image reflection of like the isolation that everyone was sent into. It would have, so many people would have related to it, but it came out just before, so the majority of people who played it would have played it then, right? And they would have felt nothing because, I don't know, they're in the internet age, they're going out seeing people all the time. The isolation isn't a thing. But there you go. COVID rocks up. What's up? How you doing? Everyone goes into quarantine. But yeah. No, I mean, if you've watched my videos or the last podcast, you know that I hate slow games, right?
Yeah.
So call me a fucking hypocrite for liking this one, but I loved Death Stranding. I don't know why. I enjoyed it so much.
I mean, I played it during lockdown. So I definitely got the feeling of, being completely alone because everyone was isolated. There was no real contact. But I actually really didn't like it.
That's fair. I think it's really hard to like.
I tried really hard to like it. I played through almost the entire game, but towards the end, it was just like I was forcing myself to like it. It was just... I was trying really hard to like it, but I just never could.
No, that's completely fair. Like, it's one of those games that is very niche, and it probably shouldn't have been done with a AAA budget.
Post-apocalyptic package simulator.
Yeah, there's no way they expected to make that money back, right?
Yeah.
No chance. I don't know if they did or not, but judging
That's
from public consensus, I don't think so.
I don't think they did. Let me just check.
All right. Yeah, but this was sort of during the time where I was very, very isolated. I didn't have an outlet for anything either, and it was after. I think this was after The Last of Us 2 that I played through it. No, that came out later. But this was very much like I'd come down from the anger stage, and it was sort of just like that. I'm sick of being angry,
Yeah.
and now I just feel tired.
Yeah.
And that's I related to it so much because
Yeah.
the main character, he's done everything. He's left his life behind, and now he's just being forced to do things. He's got no real motivation. He's just around, right?
Yeah.
And that's I definitely felt that. And it's this real existential story of just struggling against something you don't even care about, and then learning to care about it. And I really enjoyed it. If anyone, I don't know, how can I word this? I'd really recommend it if you like more games that are more like art pieces than games, because it's definitely more like that. Like the feeling that you're walking up a mountain or just through a field, and the soundtrack from Low Roar just fades in the background and just creates this vibe that I've just never felt before in a game. It was amazing.
It was definitely a pretty beautiful game. Like the soundtrack was amazing. The graphics were pretty good. I love looking at Norman Reedus.
Oh yeah, like hell yeah.
He is like he is a very beautiful man, if I'm being 100% honest.
Of course, like it's hard to recommend it because I know 80% of people aren't gonna enjoy it, but
yeah,
I did really like it.
Yeah. Also, feedback on the budget stuff. They made $27 million in sales for an $80 million budget.
Oh, yikes.
So like that's a hefty hit.
Whew. Now I see why they're making a director's cut. Hoping to get that back. Oh shit.
Yeah, so that's what, like a $53 million loss.
Jesus.
That's not that wasn't a good investment opportunity.
It really sucks that some of these like absolute passion projects just don't work out.
Yeah, wasn't that Kojima's baby?
I don't know. I think it was his recovery out of the whole being ditched by Kojima thing, and it's a bit of a slight dig at them at the same time.
Oh yeah.
No, PT is, I think. Because if you like dig into it, PT is just.
Oh yeah.
It's all symbolic of like his experience with. Like, I mean, it's all speculation, of course, but there's a really good video. I can't remember who it's by, but it basically explains like everything in PT, which is just a mirror symbolic thing of his experience getting kicked out of Konami and everything being taken from him. It's really interesting.
I really do want to check out some of his newer works. Like I want to see what he's going to do after Death Stranding's all settled and they're not going to touch that title anymore. I want to see what comes next for him.
He's got a brilliant mind. Like he just comes up with some weird shit, but it's so good.
He's definitely one of the Miyamotos of our time.
Oh yeah, I think he's one of the last like well-known game designer names that are all
absolutely.
for just player experience and making what they want to make.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who don't know who Miyamoto is, Shigeru Miyamoto is the man that put Nintendo on the map with Mario.
Yeah,
he's the game designer that created Mario and is now the head game designer at Nintendo.
That's not the Kirby guy, right?
No, the Kirby guy is different.
I'm bad with names. The guy that you search up who made Kirby and it just comes up with some like fat black dude.
Yeah,
When it's supposed
who
to
is?
be the Mia, it's Mia something. Anyway,
Uh,
yeah, the creator of Smash as well, I think. I
yeah,
think that
Masahiro Sakurai. He
Ah, that's
created
right.
Kirby.
Yeah. Is he the creator of Smash? No,
Uh,
Sakurai rings a bell.
I could have sworn that was Miyamoto, but
I don't know. Smash Bros. Ultimate, at least, anyway.
Do. It doesn't say, so I'll go on the Wikipedia. Yeah, it was. It was
Okay.
Masahiro Sakurai who made the Smash Bros. Series.
But yeah, that was so funny because
Yeah.
there was one point that I don't know how people did it. I think they just spammed Reddit or something.
Yeah, they did.
If you searched up who created Kirby, it just comes up with this like mugshot of just some like fat dude. And it's
Yeah, just,
obviously
like-
not the guy. It was just funny because it's just this dumb looking guy. It was great.
Yeah, he looks really out of it. Like
Yeah.
he looks like he's not really paying attention.
That's
All
funny
right,
as-
so one final topic for today. Trying to decide between the two that I have. So I have one which is, what do you think kills a game in development,
Okay.
and what do you think you want to do, or like what do you want to do with your game design career? Like, what is the end point that you want to get to with your game design career?
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
I reckon we'll save that last one for another day, because we could get real deep into that.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a big one. But
Yeah.
what was the first one again? Sorry.
What do you think kills a video game in development?
Kills a game.
Yeah. So like, what do you think is the biggest culprit for killing a video game in development? Like,
I think
with games that people pump so much effort in, and like studios pump so much effort into, but then they just sort of give up halfway through. What do you think makes them give up?
again, it's a big thing of burnout.
Yeah.
If there's no like contractual obligations and you're just working on it, burnout your biggest enemy. You're gonna burn yourself out. You're not gonna want to make it, and if you're not, if it's not your job to make it at the time, you're just not gonna make it, right? So you need to handle that burnout properly. But in the workplace, I think it still plays a part. Like, it's gonna lower productivity. Everyone's gonna be demotivated if just everything sucks in the workplace, right? It's up to it's kind of up to management to keep people enthusiastic and motivated and in good spirit. Otherwise, productivity goes out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. So my biggest killer for video games in development is the sunk cost fallacy.
Okay.
So if for example, a studio spends 2 years on a game where they don't have funding at all and they're losing money with those 2 years, they then have a decision to make, whether to kill the project and cut their losses, or gamble on the success of this product and potentially get the investment they put in back. So the sunk cost fallacy is where you take that gamble and you just keep going with the development, and then it turns from 2 years into 4 years, into 6 years, into 10 years, into 12, and it just keeps going and going, and then the development...
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, cyberpunk. It just slowly, no matter what you do, by the end point, you will have lost money. But you've put so much money into this, you don't want to give up. And so it's a lose-lose situation.
Oh, yeah.
And something that happens with a lot of studios, like Hytale, for example, They've worked on this since 2013, when it was officially announced in April 2013, I think it was. Then they said 2019, and then 2020, and 2021, now 2023. They're just pushing it back further and further, and at this point, the community doesn't care about it anymore. And so, if they just sort of give up development on it, no one will care. And they would have cut their losses, whereas if they develop this for the next 2 years, and then they release it, but no one really cares about it, they've just spent 2 extra years paying their 30 employees to do nothing, to get
Definitely.
no return. It's just lost money.
And there's a lot of examples of this sort of thing. Like, you remember Cube World?
Yeah, I loved Cube World.
Yeah, by the time like that had actually gone anywhere, just no one cared about it anymore.
Yeah.
Because I think the developers just disappeared for a while at one point. Like, they just no updates, nothing. So
they
everyone
all went
just
on sabbatical at the same time.
Yeah, everyone just lost interest. And then did it like officially come out? I think it officially came out, and just
I think so.
not many people gave a shit because the hype had gone. They lost trust in the developers. It's just a lose-lose situation for everybody, really. Like, the developers were obviously working on it for that long, but it sucks for them as well.
Yeah, with Cube World, they definitely spent too long developing it and not long enough. Like, they could have released a beta 2 years into development and then just kept adding to that. Like Minecraft, for example. They released in alpha. You could buy the game in alpha stages where it was just so buggy. Like, there were more bugs than, I don't know, something with bugs in it. There was just so many bugs and plot holes, and there were so many different things in Minecraft that just didn't work. But they released it anyway, and now look at it. It's one of the most successful video games of all time.
That's like a success story of they just keep on it and hope that it pays off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a third avenue. It's where it's like the No Man's Sky route. Okay, this has taken too long. We've lost too much money. Let's cut features. Let's cut stuff down, and then call it finished.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky on release. Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they obviously were a bit of in between because they just kept extending it, and they're like, all right, fuck it. It's never going to be ready. Released. There you go. Here's this piece of shit. There's a lot of games that's, unfortunately you get trapped into this avenue where you just have to pick the lesser evil, or the one that's just the better bad option, right?
Yeah. You have to pick the best option, but either option both really suck for you, so you have to kind of make a really tough decision.
Yeah.
That no one wants to make.
It's really it really sucks for the developers as well, because there's nothing they can do at that point. They can't miraculously spend another 3 years remaking the game and spend $1 billion on it, because they don't have the $1 billion. They just spent it making the game for the past 6 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
and I think
it's a rough time.
I definitely think with games like Cyberpunk, they definitely should have cut their losses a lot sooner, instead of cutting features out like, a month from release date because it didn't work.
I think they ended up making their money back anyway. Like,
they did, but no one will play Cyberpunk now. Even after the massive patch update, no one will play it. Like, there are still so many bugs. There's so much stuff wrong with it.
Yeah.
They definitely should have. In my professional opinion, I think they should have cut development about 2 years after its initial development, if they thought that if we add this, and this is going to take another 7 years.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Cyberpunk was, sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, after those after those first 2 years, if you've still got 7 or 8 years of development with the current team you have, I don't really see the point in spending those 7 years gambling the success on this might work. I would cut my losses and start with something a bit smaller where, it's a 1 year release date or maybe even a 2 year release date, but spending so much time where you've already spent a lot of time on it and you're not even halfway, you seriously have to think about how much money you could potentially make from it and how much money you've already spent on it and weigh up those options. Because if the amount of money you can make from it is even close to the amount that you've spent on it, I wouldn't even touch that. I'd just call it quits. I'd put it down, or I'd work on it in my spare time so I'm not actually losing money on it. I wouldn't pump more and more into this when the chance of making my investment back is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Oh yeah. It's hard to know like what really goes on behind the scenes, because there's all these different like legal things, like they might have a contract with such and such company, and the company demands that they have this in the game. This must be in the game. This must be to this standard, so they have to put more time into it. Even though they know they're not going to make their money back, they have to do it because they are legally obligated. It's rough. I believe Cyberpunk was a passion project, because you saw those early like devlogs, right? Every NPC has its own location. They all have their own jobs. They all do everything specifically every day. You can go and talk to them. You can seduce them. Take them back to your room. Like, the scope was stupid.
Yeah. And having a world that's that alive and having that many individuals in the game, like having, say, even 1,000 NPCs with their own jobs, their own, chat lines, their own personalities even, that would probably take one person about 1.5 years to do. Just those 1,000 people, not including, actually making the job, finding where they go, doing everything else that they have to fit into.
Oh yeah, not to mention like voice acting, character models, textures, animations. It's pretty ridiculous.
So having unrealistic expectations of yourself during a game is definitely something you should at least try to prevent.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely scope is a big thing when it comes to game design.
Oh yeah.
Development in general. Like if you're a programmer and you're working on your own game, definitely look at just learn about scoping, because that will make or break your game. Definitely.
Yeah. And if you guys out there actually want to make your own game, pace it so you're not spending so much time on it that it's unrealistic. Only spend a few hours on it here and there. Don't go hammer and tongs, quit your job and do everything, because that's realistically, if you're just starting out, that's not going to be feasible.
Yeah, like if it's your job, it's going to be 9 to 5, right? But if not, it's 9 times out of 10 you're going to be working another job that's probably 9 to 5, or you're going to be in school. So you're not going to have the capacity to do the same amount of hours of work on your game as everything else.
Yeah. And another thing is, don't bite off more than you can chew. It's good to push yourself, but don't say, if you've never done programming before, I want to do my own character movement systems and I want to do stuff with physics. Don't push yourself to the point of no return, almost.
Yeah, definitely start with the simple stuff.
Start small, yeah. Start small and work your way up to it. It's definitely going to help you more in the long run.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, KISS.
Yeah.
Or KISS.
Yeah. Make sure to do plenty of that.
Yeah, I wish I could.
Yeah. Anyway, also in the news, what do you got for the news, Jay?
The game that I'm developing now has a menu.
Oh, hell yeah.
I spent an entire day making the menu, and it has like animations and stuff and buttons flying all over the place and high octane nuts to butts action.
Hell yeah, dude.
God, that menu's gonna be awesome.
Got that good on game feel going. We like it.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's
Alright.
looking nice.
I tried to put you on the spot there and just screw you up, but you powered through it, so good on you.
I tried my best.
Alright, well, we're over the 1 hour mark, so do we want to wrap things up a little bit?
We'll wrap this episode up at the 1 hour 6 minute mark.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. Tune in next week where we talk about some other shit that we haven't figured out yet.
Woo! The underdeveloped podcast.
Yeah. We don't actually know what we're talking about until 20 minutes until we start the podcast.
Hell yeah. But yeah, anyways, make sure to drop a comment, leave the likes, save it on Spotify, follow, whatever. I'm not sure exactly how Spotify does that, but subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're on YouTube. Yeah.
If you guys have any questions that you want us to answer, any topics you want us to cover, just leave them in the comments of the YouTube, or you can email us. I think it's no, that's not it. The underdeveloped podcast at gmail.com if you want to send in an email.
Awesome.
That's the underdeveloped podcast at gmail.com.
Hell yeah.
So if you ever want to send us an email, just chuck us an email. We'll read it and we'll get back to you as soon as we can, or we'll answer it on the podcast. And with that, we'll see you next week. All right.
All right.
Have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Catch you later.